today I am at my house. I am baking a recipe from my book, Sunday Baking 2. I just really felt like eating cake tonight, so I thought I should prepare one. I'm gonna make my Prosecco and pear cake. All right, we'll get started. So first up, I've got 120 grams of butter. That is equivalent to 1 stick of butter, and it's at room temperature because that's a very important, step in making a successful cake, is using butter that's at room temp. I'm just gonna pop 120 grams of that straight into my mixing bowl, and of course I'm using my Kenwood mixer, along with 200 grams or 7.1 ounces of caster sugar, or superfine sugar, straight over the top there, and then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And all I'm going to do is start my mixer on high speed, and I'm going to leave this going for at least 3 minutes. Another really important step in making a successful cake here. You want your batter to become super aerated and light and fluffy, and that does take at least 3 minutes, so just have to be patient with this step. Alright, let's go. Okay, so it's been a long time, and my butter and sugar mixture is really pale, light and fluffy, so we're ready to carry on with the rest of the cake now. So I'll stop my mixer, and you just want to do a quick scrape down using a rubber spatula. And then we're going to crack our eggs and separate the whites from the yolks. So I've got 3 free-range eggs here. I've never been the best at separating eggs, but now I need a cloth. One by one, I'm going to add my egg whites to my mixture while the beater is going. Sorry. I'm going to turn the speed right up. Just going to do a quick scrape down. Okay, that's looking beautiful. So next, we're gonna add our dries. So I've already mixed together my flour, ground almonds or almond flour, and baking powder, and some sea salt as well. And I'm gonna add this gradually along with the Prosecco, sort of in alternate additions. So that means I have to open the Prosecco, which I'm rather excited about. Who doesn't love opening a bottle of bubbles? So this is at room temp, quite important, because if it was cold from the fridge, you would be sort of solidifying your butter when you added the cold liquid. So room temp's important. I've got some nice Italian Prosecco from Silver Lake Wine. Wow. Okay. So all up, I want 1 cup of Prosecco. Wait for the bubbles to disappear. Definitely gonna pour myself a little one. It is Friday. All right, back to business. Now, about 1/3 of my dries. Mix that in on a low speed, and while that's going, I'm going to add about 1/3 of the Prosecco. Next, 1/3 of the dries, another 1/3 of the Prosecco. Oh, I love that noise. It's amazing. I think the Prosecco starts to react with the baking powder, and it just froths up in this beautiful way. Okay, and then the last of our dries, and then the rest of the Prosecco. And as I said, you want to be super careful not to over mix this, so I'm going to stop it just as soon as it looks like everything's incorporated. and you can finish off the rest by hand. So that just looks so beautiful. I always forget to say to preheat the oven, which is honestly one of the most important steps. My oven has been preheating to 180 or I guess 350 Fahrenheit. And I have already pre-lined my cake tins. So I've got two 9-inch cake tins and I've just pressed some non-stick baking paper or parchment paper in there. And then what I'm gonna do is evenly divide the batter between my two tins. So about half of it goes into one, and then half into the other. And then we're going to prepare our pears and just dot them into the batter. I've got these most stunning pears that I got from Imperfect Foods, and they've got red skin, and I'm actually just going to leave the skin on, but you can absolutely peel it as well if you prefer. Smooth the batter out to the sides. Like so. Perfect. So my recipe says to use 2 small ripe pears. Now these are particularly small, so I actually think I might use all 3, but I'll see how I go. So pretty, right? So all I want to do is just cut them up, discard the cores, and then create, what have I said, 2 centimeter chunks. So that's nice and easy. And that's good. This is a bit messy. Cakey cakes are known for being absolutely jam-packed full of fresh fruit, so this is just one of my typical recipes. Okay. So now I've cut up my 3 little pears. You know what? I'm so not used to reading my own recipes because they're just all usually stuck up here, but because this is one I don't bake often, I've actually forgotten to add the lemon zest. Lol. So I'm gonna zest it, and then I'm just gonna kind of swirl it through the batter, which will have a similar effect. My bad. Oops. So I've got a microplane here. I do really recommend investing in a microplane. These little fine ribbons of zest I'm getting, sort of, you'll notice, don't include any of the pith, which is a bit bitter. So you just want to get that nice, very outer part of the zest. Okay, so it's going to kind of sprinkle a bit onto each one and then swirl it through. Now I'm going to dot my pears in. A little bit more of this. So when you place fruit into a cake, you want to kind of be careful not to place it all around the edges or all in the center. You want it to be pretty even. And actually, the less you put in the center, the better, because that's the part that's going to take the longest to bake. So your cake might be ready on the, on the edges, but if you've packed the middle too full, it's not going to cook evenly. It's going to be so nice with the skin still on the pears, I think. All right, time to bake. So I'm going to set a timer for, what have I said in my recipe book, 30 minutes. Every oven is extremely different though, and I know that my home oven, which is actually a gas oven, not ideal for baking, but will be fine, cooks a little quicker than normal because it runs quite hot. So I'm actually going to set it for 20, check it at 20, and then we'll go from there. So into the oven. So while that's baking, I'm going to make my icing. First I need to wash up. I need to clean my mixing bowl, so I'm going to get onto that. See you in a tick.